Hi guys, I'm Danny, and I started a Sunday gym because I've noticed lately that people tend to go to colleges and universities without actually knowing why they're there. And afterwards, starting jobs that are unfulfilling. So I'm interviewing different professionals to see what they have to say and share their knowledge and experience with you. I hope you enjoy it. Right on, Veena, thank you for being with me. How are you doing today?
Hi, I'm doing well. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. The podcast will be focused on three main questions. What do you do for a living? How did you get there? And how did you know that this was the way to go? So please tell us what you do for a living.
Yes, so for a living, I am a large multifamily owner operator. I run private equity funds. So basically, I raise capital from groups of investors to help them generate double-digit returns on their portfolios. And I do that by buying and renovating and then exiting large multifamily assets, so apartment buildings in the Sun Belt.
What is a sunbelt? Sorry about.
Oh, the Sun Belt. Yes, it's a US thing, right? So in the
Yeah,
US, Texas, Florida, Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina,
the
and then
southern.
yeah, kind of like that south, the sunny part of
Yeah,
US.
nice. That's pretty interesting. And I didn't knew much about that, but I myself bought a few apartments, a few small apartments. Yeah, so
Love it.
investment in real estate is. I'm not that much of an expert, but I personally believe that it's one of the most secure things you can possibly do.
Absolutely.
Even if the money aren't yours, even if it's with a bank loan, I think it's way more secure. And I'm an old-fashioned man. I'm not saying crypto is a bad thing. Probably it isn't, because I know few people who are fine with it. I'm
Yeah.
just saying that if I cannot touch it, I'm not really okay with it.
I think
So
a lot of investors share that sentiment, but I think, diversification is good. So even if it's not only real estate, it's a healthy part of a regularly diversified portfolio. And you and I aren't finance professionals, so we can't give that advice.
right, absolutely. I just gave it as an example because that's what I've been doing for the last
Yeah.
6 7 years now, and it's really good because it's not just buying, renovating, and selling. Because I'm pretty sure, and you will tell us all about this, but I'm pretty sure you're picking up skills that you never really thought about and knowledge that you never didn't had before, because it's not really very simple. Like, I learned to do things I never thought I'm going to need, but then again,
Totally.
life is life. So
Yes.
absolutely. And were you like walking on the street one day and you decided to do this, or how did you?
No, not quite. So my parents are immigrants to the US, and I think it makes me second generation, right? Like they're the first generation that came here. So my sister and I are second generation. My mom has always been a very successful real estate investor. And because of that, I kind of already had a foundation in real estate, but my parents invested in single family homes. And so
Single
I
family
left,
home?
yep,
It's
single
like a
family home.
house for one family, right? Is that correct?
Exactly.
All right.
Yes, exactly. So just one house, one family will live there, and that's it. So like, in like a neighborhood, those
Yeah.
types of houses, my parents would invest and then rent them out, which is great. It was a really great way for them to build wealth in America. But I went to college for my degree in finance. I worked in corporate real estate for a while, and then I left corporate real estate to start investing for myself. And my mom was, kind of my mentor and helping me through. I started in single family. There was a week where I bought like 5 houses in a week. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is not sustainable at all. And I can't scale. I can't buy 5 houses every week. And to get to 1,000 doors will take me forever. So that's when I kind of decided I needed to make the leap into something that was bigger and more scalable. And that's where the power of multifamily kind of unveiled itself to me, if you will.
So it's like an apartment complex. Am I viewing it correct?
Yes. Yeah. So if you think of it like 200 apartments, we would buy
Yeah.
all 200.
And it's pretty good because, again, personal point of view, if you have a house and you have a lawn outside, I know a lot of people with big houses and everything. There's always something to do in a house, and you rarely have some free time. Or
Yeah.
you're in an apartment, you have a lot of free time. Like, you clean up here and there, dust here and there, but It's and I personally, that's why I've always enjoyed apartments. There's this like an old saying here on the Balkan Peninsula, like I bought a house and everybody are coming here for to be at a dinner party or something, and then they
Yeah.
all like, oh, it's so nice here, and then they leave to an apartment and they leave me here to clear up the mess when
Oh,
it's so nice. Yeah, I completely.
that's actually really funny. Yeah, no, you know what I'll say is what happens at when you start buying 70 units at a time, you get the economies of scale. So
Yeah,
now I don't have to answer the phone at 2 a.m. because someone has like a sink leaking or a faucet leaking or a light bulb doesn't work, right? Because now there's somebody who's dedicated to all 70, 100 of those units. Their job is to do that. They just tell me when it's like something larger or something out of the ordinary, or like, if there's like a fire or something like that, then I find out about it at that point. But I don't know which tenant is paying late, right? Like I know because I can see it on the financials, but I'm
yeah.
not going and collecting rent. There's somebody dedicated to my properties that do that.
No, you definitely did the right thing, and you kind of covered the third question. The third question is, how did you know this was the way to go? It was pretty good, and I really adore stories like those because you said you were with your mother, and it's for example, again, I'm an old-fashioned man. It's very important for a child to learn from the parents.
Yeah,
And in all fairness, that there isn't a better teacher than the parent,
that's
because
so true.
you don't have to worry about being in a competition tomorrow or something. Even if you are, it's a bond
Yeah.
that cannot be really broken that easily. This is my, but was that really the only reason? Because in all fairness, if you weren't that kind of a person, no
Yeah.
matter how much your mother was going to push you, you would have never done it. Like my mother is a dentist, and no sane person will ever ask me for a health advice. It is
Yeah,
what it
no,
is.
I love real estate. I loved it. I love the flexibility. I love having my own company where I can control my own time. That makes me really happy. I think that it's one of the most powerful tools in America. It's a very tax efficient investment. Um, and I love working for myself. I love being able to create something. I love creating jobs. I love giving people a safe, clean place to live, right? That's really important to me. And I love being able to influence other companies that we work with to have, great ESG practices. That's something we have a focus on now. And so, yeah, I mean, I think I always loved real estate. I think I got lucky that I was born into a family that understood business and real estate and instilled that in us since we were kids.
It is pretty important, and the reason I actually created this whole program and everything is because, and this is why I structured the question in that order. I'm pretty sure it's like that in the US as well. It's here in Europe is in that department a little bit messed up because people tend to go to colleges and universities. But you know this stigma, right? Where you have to go to college to get a degree to secure your life, which isn't really. And for the record, because I'm almost got crucified for that, I'm not against colleges and universities. I
Right.
graduated a bachelor degree, a master degree. I'm doing a PhD right now. Obviously, I don't hate it. I'm highlighting the fact that most of the time, according to what I'm seeing and hearing, it isn't worth it. And people are losing 5, 6 years from their life. And I don't really, and this is why I'm gathering all those examples and I'm putting it on Rumble and YouTube and everywhere,
Yeah.
because really it matters. And I really wanted to see if you have noticed this and if you can provide some words of wisdom, please.
Yeah, so I did go to college. My degree was in finance and I graduated young. I was 20 years old when I graduated. So I
Heck
graduated
yeah.
very young. Yeah. So I believe that college is a really great way to break a poverty cycle or an socioeconomic cycle that maybe is in your family, because education is really the great equalizer, in my opinion.
It
With that,
opens a lot of doors.
it does. And I'll tell you, I had so much fun in college. I loved college. It was the best 4 years of my life.
I
You get
had
to
so much fun in college, I barely
right.
remember anything.
Exactly. And that's kind of the point, right? Like you get to be an adult out on your own without the full-blown responsibilities of being an adult.
Yep.
And I think college is really great for networking. Like I'm still in touch with the people I was friends with in college. I made lifelong friends there. So I think it's really important for a lot of reasons like that.
In
However,
all fairness, you look 21, so to say that you're
thank
still
you.
in touch with it really doesn't sound that serious, but
This was more than a year ago.
yeah.
I'm now 36, so it was a
No.
while ago. Yeah, so I'm now 36 years old.
You're
But what I
sleeping in a refrigerator.
I so what I would say though is if you're going to college and you don't have a direction or you don't have a technical degree that will actually get you in the door of what you want to do, like like you said, there's some fields you have to have a college degree, right? Like your mom's
Yes.
a dentist. You can't like online education your way into being a dentist. You have to go to college. You have to go to university. Um, so if that's what your calling is and that's what you want to do, college might be the right choice for you. I think what's changed today, especially from when I was younger, is that college is no longer a requirement to
Yeah.
do things in business, especially, right? Like
In
now,
administration in general, I wouldn't only say business.
yeah, administration, business, there are many fields, right? Like
Yeah.
there journalism, English, like all those. Yes, you are going to learn core tenets, and it is great if you do get a degree. But I think that in the US, at least, college tuition rates are so insanely expensive that kids are coming out with hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt and no way to really make the living that will compensate for how
But
much.
wait, is this like for colleges and universities in general, or a few private colleges and universities?
I mean, it's not unusual to come out of college with six figures in debt.
Whoa,
Yeah, the
because the
US,
universities and colleges here are pretty cheap,
no.
actually. Like if you work as a bartender, and I'm telling you because I
Yeah.
went to a private college. So if you work as a bartender, the the first trimester, what was the name? Semester. The semester fee is about 70% of your monthly salary.
Oh,
So, and I was in a private college, which was
that's,
considered to be expensive. So it's not really that much for the money, because fairness, we've all lost money, right? I did. I'm pretty sure you did. So
yeah.
it's not really about the money; it's about the time. But I didn't know it was like that severe in the U.S. that people have loans for colleges.
Yes. So you take a loan here to usually, I mean, my parents saved for us for college and they paid for our college. So they said you have 4 years and then we're done paying. Um, but like I'll tell you, I have twin 3.5-year-olds and we're saving for college for them. And I think that if they go to undergrad, it's gonna probably everything like tuition, books, living expenses, food, everything, room and board. I'm planning in about 15 years that they're gonna need $500,000, almost $400,000 to go to college.
I
If
normally don't advertise on my channel, but send them to Denmark.
I mean, I would love to. I would
This
be
is where I
thrilled.
graduated, and it's gold.
I
And
would be thrilled if they study somewhere else because I don't think that the education here is necessarily superior and it depends what they want to do, right? Like I also am second generation here. I'm an entrepreneur. I have done really well for myself that I think my kids could go out and start a business and I'd be thrilled if they do that instead of going to college. I just don't think that college is so necessary anymore. We have the entire world at our fingertips.
yes,
AI is changing the face of everything right now. I think a lot of jobs are going to be displaced or replaced with AI.
yep.
And I want my kids to be adaptable. I don't want them to be stuck in this place where they feel like they have to go to college just to check a box. I want it to be something that's a calling for them or that's productive for them to do. And I think that if you don't have the means to go to college now, it does not put you out of the running to be able to be successful. I think there like many YouTube channels exist teaching people for free, right? Like I do a lot of free education. There are many Facebook groups that exist that do free
Yep.
education. There's masterminds you can join, which are relatively cheap considering how expensive college is. And it opens up doors that weren't open when I was graduating college, right? Like you and I maybe wouldn't have talked 15 years ago when I was graduating.
Definitely. Maybe if you were like really good at Star Wars, but
Which I am
outside
not.
of that,
Yes. Right. And so, that's the thing though, is like now technology is amazing. And then
yeah.
post COVID, the whole world shifted to being online and being comfortable online, right? Like we went from having to go in person to like fully remote overnight. And so now it's like there's just more opportunity from that to connect on a global scale instead of just, and Americans can be very like ethnocentric, right? Like we're very American. Everything is America, America, America.
Almost every country is ethnocentric.
I
I've
could,
been talking to people from all over the world. I was about to, when I was in Denmark, we were 17 people in one house, from 15 nationalities.
wow.
That's
Amazing.
why I recommend, because it's awesome
Love that.
to have the opportunity to. But yeah, and the world is honestly, and of course I'm biased, but
Yeah,
honestly, we do live in the greatest times the world has ever known in the official recorded 8,000 years history. And
I
the
agree.
reason I'm saying it is because my father and my mother, and probably yours, I'm not sure, they couldn't just do whatever they want to do, and said they did what they had to do. Now our generation I believe we're the first generation that actually is able to understand what we want and how to do it. I remember when I was young, my grandfather used to tell me to be a TV mechanic, because everybody has a TV in the
The
house.
future.
You're always going to have some work to do. Honest, I don't remember ever sending a TV to a mechanic. If it doesn't work, I'm throwing it out. I'm buying a
I
new
do.
one, and that's it. So
Because I always think, oh, maybe my kids can be like robot engineers for the
another
same.
robot will do that. Don't worry about
Right.
it.
That's what my husband, he's like, yeah, probably just they'll have another robot to fix the other robots. I'm like,
Yeah.
it's crazy. So,
In all fairness, I think not recently, in recent for the last 2 centuries, let's say, every generation is preparing the next generation for a world that doesn't exist anymore when the
yeah,
kids grow up. Because
because
when
it's
you go through the industrial revolution and this and that, it's totally different world. It is incredibly interesting, and again, of course, I'm biased, but I do believe we live in the best times possible, despite all the issues.
I agree. I mean, listen, we're in the safest time that we've ever been in, where we have access to
Healthiest.
more information than we've ever had access to. Travel is relatively easier than it's ever been. I mean, I agree with you.
Yeah, I live in Bulgaria, in Sofia, and to go to Berlin, like if I book it like a month in advance, it would be like to go on vacation to the next city with a
Yeah,
plane.
yeah. That's the
It's
thing. So it's easier, there, I mean, like 100 years ago, I don't think they had planes that you could just get on. Maybe they did 100 years, but like 200 years ago, they didn't, right?
yeah,
So everything has changed. And I think that technology is improving, and it's not linear growth, right? It's exponential.
yeah.
So the last 10 years, we've had more information than the 10 years before that. And so I think that it's just amazing to see how quickly information is becoming available globally for everybody.
It is, and although it has, of course, its minuses, and some people are worried, maybe for a good reason, maybe for a little bit exaggerated, but wait and see. But in all fairness, yeah, it's pretty good, and everything is pretty accessible. With that said, Veena, huge thank you for being with me. I really wanted you here because I told you before, I saw you on YouTube and Facebook, so you're incredibly charming, you're very smart, and it was awesome speaking to you.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me.
Right on. All the best, and see you soon.
Bye.
Bye. Guys, I hope this one was useful. Please follow the channel on YouTube, Rumble, Twitter, Gap, LinkedIn, and Facebook. Ring the bell and all the good stuff. Have a nice week ahead, and I'll see you next Sunday.